Now, you mentioned your wife, the paper-based planning, all that sort of thing. Why is that no longer enough? Like, what is it that clients want to feel from this process that is changing with this Gen 2 and more dynamic type of planning?
Yeah. So it's actually bringing it's bringing the plan to life.
Right.
The plan now comes to life. It's no longer a paper document that we look at it and make some changes, and here's a new one. Now the plan comes to life. Now, as Jim said, it now becomes a journey.
Hmm.
Now it's a journey, right? And so you want to start that journey. That relationship is important, of course. That confidence in the firm as well. The firm is huge in this, of course, right? But it now becomes a journey where it's no longer a once a year touch point, but now the advisor could be touching the plan, the clients can be touching the plan. You could have estate planners. Like it's now becoming teams, but multiple people are touching this. And again, from a client perspective, you're now able to with a tool like Conquest, you can actually do what if scenarios on your own, right?
Hmm.
And the advisor knows. The advisor knows, hey, Johnny's looking at retiring earlier. I gotta give Johnny a call. And so take advantage of that, right? You're gonna have touch points, you're gonna have opportunities. And so this is stuff that today uh, the paper is no longer, I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. An executive summary, always good. Give me that 3 pages, give me four. But a 60-page report, I don't think clients are really looking at that anymore, especially when they know there's something different out there, right?
Hmm.
They know there's something that, hey, I can look at this on my phone. I can look at this on my phone. And so the world has changed. And so um, the analogy I give is well, you guys, not because I'm saying you're old, but you probably remember the Motorola flip phone, right? Well, if you have a Motorola flip phone, you can still do calls today. You can
Hmm.
still do calls. Can't do much more than that.
Yeah.
Who does not have a smartphone today, right? And
Yeah.
so that is, I think, almost where we're at with financial advice and planning. We've done the same thing from the beginning, even when we went from no technology to just paper from Excel to the traditional financial planning software, it was still the same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody was looking at, come on, we got to do something different here. And there's no way an advisor can do more plans in the current system. And
Yeah.
that's another big one, right? Delivering more plans to more people, you need the technology.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened today.
Yeah, I was going to follow up on one of the things you said was that when customers or clients are going in and doing their own what if scenarios and everything, the advisor is getting a notification of that of them looking at it. And I would love to understand, where do you see advisors struggling the most with adapting to these change, like turning these financial plans into actionable, trusted conversations with clients. And I mean, I can see that as being one of the giant light bulbs happening in the background. Like if my client is paying attention to this and they're running this, they're indicating to me that conversations are required. So
Yeah.
what are the stumbling blocks that advisors are facing today with adapting to these pieces of software?
I think, again, if you look at the successful advisors, right? So successful advisors have put together a successful process,
Hmm.
right? And so that process needs tweaking to take advantage. I truly believe it needs tweaking. Do they have somebody? Okay, some of them are doing it on their own. They're there, right? But a lot of these advisors don't know how to take what they have and say, okay, I gotta let some stuff actually go here, right? So
Hmm.
so I gotta let something go, and you need to build a new model. This is not tweaking a bit. This is you gotta do something different because your client are asking for something different. And so I I think where the struggle is, where do I go? Like, and
Yeah.
so again, why I'm super excited about what Jim is putting into place is because I truly believe, you got either clients that have got the tech, sorry, you got firms that have the technology may not have even the in-house expertise to say, how do we help advisors? How do our leaders get some help to help advisors? Okay. And then they don't have the technology and it could become obsolete, right? So
Yeah.
the biggest challenge to me is advisors are not sure how to proceed. And again, you said that population is going through change and well, but you have the advisors that are getting started, need help, who can help me? And you have advisors who say, look, I'm gonna retire in 2 years. But again, that those advisors that before the technology could have said, I'll be fine for 2 years. Your clients are ahead of you right now. And they may have other ideas that don't align with what you think for the next 2 years. And so they need help to get, okay, how do we get on that mountain, as Jim was saying? How do I become that Sherpa that's going to help along the way? And that I think there's a huge opportunity to exploit because, like I said, the human side is where the help is needed to get advisors to where they need to go.
Yeah. And as we know, humanity loves change. We just, we're so eager to just throw away what we've been doing to change to something else.
I
But,
don't
Yes.
think we're afraid of change. I think we are afraid of technology at times
mhm,
when it's new. I think we're afraid of sudden change.
right.
If change is controlled and evolves, then I think we can step in pace with that. I think there is a sight when new tech comes along that's big and important to a business. I think the firms and the advisors need to see it as an enabler
hmm
to the evolution, not as a big change that they need to be afraid of. And
Right.
there is, Johnny brings up a great point, which is there are some advisors that are very mature in the business that they say, listen, I've got a just handful of years left in the business. I hope because the business is moving to a team-based approach. I hope that they've got junior advisors or younger advisors in that business model that will pick up on that. If somebody's got 1, 2, 3 years left in the business and they say, "Listen, I'm a little long in the tooth for evolving this way," my answer would be, "That's fine, but somebody on your team needs to be picking up, as Johnny says, because the clients are going to be ahead of you before you know it."
Yeah. Yeah. Which leads really well into the next question I had, which is, if you could give one piece of advice to whether it's these firms or advisory groups or whoever it may be, and they're looking to modernize that approach, what would that one piece of advice be? And Jim, I'd love to start with your opinion on it.
Redesign the advice model where necessary. I
Hmm
think if you understand, as Johnny was talking about, strategic advice management components inside of smart tech now, understand that smart tech is math driven, it's optimized strategies. So there's a whole lot of reasoning and math behind it, but it is very rational.
hmm
And where the advisor comes in that human guidance is the connection and the translation between the rational math output and the irrational, always changing lives of the clients.
Right.
And that's where the guide really plays. The guide, if you think about that Sherpa guide, as Johnny reiterated, walking with their clients up to base camp or higher, they're looking at the environment, but they're also watching the client and they're trying to translate what they know is happening in weather patterns and different patterns around them and making sure the clients can digest it and know what to do about it. And I think that rational output of tech to the irrational behaviors of just clients in uncertain lives and always changing lives, that's where that guide plays a very significant role.
Right. That's a great way to explain how the technology can support rather than replace, the human side of financial advice is that requirement for empathy, the requirement for explanation and assistance in those decisions that need to be made, is something that still requires that advice piece, sitting there. Johnny, after working with advisors for so long and seeing all their processes and how they implement, whether it's technology or changing concepts for planning, these sorts of things, what do you feel is the ideal client journey? Like from first contact to long-term relationship, what does that look like in today's environment?
It's a whole new world. Again, I don't want to emphasize it so much, but it is a new world. It's no longer, oh, look at the tweaks that were done to this tool, and everything has changed. It's a new world, but the strategy. So when you say the journey is the journey.
Hmm.
The journey is the journey. What I mean by that is you've got to define the client needs.
Yeah.
So it still starts with the needs, the goals, their financial situation. Okay. So what's changed again? This is why I say, Jim, get out there. Get out there because let's not get advisors to do that on paper, or let's not get advisors to do that on Excel
Hmm.
because now you're starting behind, right? But that's needed. Without that, you're not going anywhere, right? Define the stages. Let's make sure I know exactly the distinct phases this client potentially can have because I'm going to be there. Let's define the touch points. Let's define the life events, right?
Hmm.
Let's do all that. But now here's where it starts changing. Where's the journey? The journey is going to change a bit where now it's not just advisor actions. There will be advisor actions. There will be client actions because the clients want to be engaged. Don't just take this away and come back to me. I want to be able, like, maybe the advisor say, you know what, I'm gonna put a plan together, start looking at it, and then let's see when you want to retire. Maybe let's not, you said you want to retire at 64. Let's see, maybe it'll be 61. Who knows, right? And so that's going to be different. And that's where a tool like conquest planning takes it to another level. And then of course the big change though for the client journey is bring it to life. Now
Yeah.
bring this to life. This is no longer once a year. Let's file it. I'm compliant. I'm good. No, no, no. This is actually sitting in the client's computer or on the client's phone. So if I'm thinking my client's going to see this in the next year, oh no, no, no. I am looking at my plan. I just want to know my investments, what they did. But now let me look at my plan. Does this still align against my plan? I'm not going to wait for my advisor. I'm going to call him. And so that's the big change. So it's no longer an annual review, but touch points, um, advisors on their own. Again, advisor should be looking at my plan, even if he's not going to call me.
Hmm.
He should be today with the technology, or an assistant should be looking at the plan and saying, "Hey, we have all these clients' data in our CRM." So again, from a firm perspective, you've got the data. You've got the data, right? Are we still aligned, right? Does everything still make sense? And so that journey, a lot of the steps are the same, but now you're going to be taking it to life. You're going to be able to do things that, again, you want to get away from that traditional. Okay, I did check mark that, as Jim
Yeah.
said, compliance is done. No, this is really about our advisor called us. We were driving, our advisor called us just to say, hey guys, it's going to be a roller coaster every year. Don't worry. And he didn't say, I got this. He said, you got this. You
Hmm.
got this. You've got everything in order. You got this. And so I think, that sounds like, oh, what big whatever. Well, you know what? Put my wife and put me to ease because
Yeah.
we are retired. We are retired. And so we want to travel. We want to do things. And so when you see something like that, you can get scared. You get scared,
Yep.
but just say, you got this. You don't have to do anything. You got it. And so that's the power today, you
Yeah.
know? And so that the
Yeah.
journey is not much change, but what you do with it has changed.